guys, welcome to Ikebukuro Westgate Park. Got it in one. Episode 8. This week's episode was the Senkawa Fallout Mother. The open itself, not a great deal. It kind of just sets up our little story where we have a child playing with an airplane out on top of a balcony where he ends up falling out of the window. That is our little quick open. This week's episode, I have three pages of notes, making it the smallest amount of notes I have for any video. To be fair, this is another one of those episodes where I can't really say a great deal. It's a very difficult topic, and it's also a topic I am in no position to talk about because I haven't had any experience in parenthood of any sort. We're going to go through it because there are some important little details hidden in the story this week. I've got 3 pages of notes, shouldn't take too long to discuss them, but again, really having fun with Ikebukuro Westgate Park. I was hoping we would get a bit more on Makoto, because obviously I do think there is a darker past, there is a lot to go on with him, but with 4 episodes left, I am wondering if we are going to get what I want. So I'm a little skeptical whether we're going to get that breakdown that I'm hoping for. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I will be releasing my winter 2021 anime list very shortly. I will be telling you guys what my favourite animes of the full season were, and I will be telling you guys what I'm watching next season and what I plan to release a YouTube video on. So make sure you are subscribed so you get to find out what to expect next season. Make sure you guys as well are part of the Discord channel. You will get a notification whenever a video goes up, especially on the exact hour, minute, whenever the video goes. So quite nice. There is also a question and answer section where you can ask me questions. I do hope to build, once we get a little bit bigger, this channel into something more. For now, it is very quiet, but the channel has only recently just hit 200. So we are slowly growing, but it is always such a nice thing to wake up to and see that we've gained an extra 2 noodling or so very excited. So if you have just found me, hello, I am Clockwork Noodles. I love anime, I enjoy talking about it. Whether I make any sense or not is another question. Hopefully you guys as well can come along and listen to me ramble about anime. This week's episode, open with Makoto reading the newspaper that the kids fall out the window has made it into the newspapers. Koichi and Isugai from the Red Angels have decided to come and visit our hero of justice, as I like to call him. And they have a request. Also, that is a really cute moment where Koichi picks up the kitty. I do like Koichi. Koichi is not my favourite. He's not my boy. Makoto is my special boy. I do have a soft spot for Koichi. They have got a request to go and visit the mother of the child who fell out of the balcony, because apparently they both frequent the park to go and see Koichi dance. Recently, she came alone that day when her child fell out the window. Koichi is worried about the people who are fans of his dancing. He calls her a fan of his dancing, and obviously he cares about all his fans. We find out that the mother is getting really bad responses to the newspaper article. Obviously, people are calling her a bad parent and then picking out on those abilities. What we do find out a little later on, which is always where I just kind of draw the line, is death threats. People can be angry, sure, you have an opinion, but as soon as you start threatening somebody with death, and this goes for the anime community as a whole as well, you can dislike something. I'm not the biggest fan of things like Sword Art Online. Never go as far as telling somebody to go and kill themselves. That is where I stand, guys. This week's episode is really difficult as well, so I can't really say much about the topic. We're just going to try and jump through it as quickly as we can, picking out all these key little moments. We do get a moment which quite shocked me, was when Koichi said that he wanted to mow down all the haters with a machine gun. Wasn't quite expecting him to say something like that, but one of those little moments where obviously he just doesn't like people who hate on somebody or people who just judge people without knowing the full story. Where the MVP as I've always called her the MVP, Makoto's mother appears, telling Makoto to go check on her, and she ends up giving him some fruit to take along with him. We do find out the child's injuries were minor, thankfully. Apparently, she's not entitled to child support because her man ran off. Not quite sure about the Japanese child support system. I know in the UK, in her situation, she probably would have child maintenance of some sort. So she would probably be entitled, regardless of the situation, to something in the UK. But I don't know anything about that kind of system in Japan. Can't comment too much. Just going to make a little point about the UK system and then jump ahead. We find out she is hardworking. She has a full-time job. I think it's 10 to 5 that she's working, when she obviously has to do mum duties as well, where she has basically no time for herself. The pay is low, and she's also now being harassed by the press because of the incident. Makoto offers to take everybody to a family restaurant, where he mentions his mother, We also know that Makoto's mum is a single mum, so I already remembered this. So his mum definitely raised Makoto as a single parent, so that's also why I kind of think he might have been more inclined to go ahead and help this one out because it's little bit close to home as well. And Makoto asks her why she went alone that day to go and see Koichi's dance, where it simply was the fact that she just wanted to take some time watching it. And it was that one moment, as soon as you look away kind of thing, something bad happens, where she's probably been attentive as hell up until that point, and it takes 1 point for things to go wrong. Koichi asks everybody to watch over her just a little bit longer. Makoto does raise a point where watching somebody just doesn't change the situation. So you could watch them all you wanted to, but the situation isn't going to get any better because you're not doing anything active. She is struggling. We know that the mum is struggling. She's not doing so well. Kind of takes a turn for the worst. She's dressed up and she goes to visit Makoto and his mother, bringing Kazushi with her. And she's all dressed up, but it's the way Kazushi is acting really, really odd, where he seems really sad and he greets Makoto really reluctantly. And that's when Makoto's mum says, I believe she's found a man. We've seen the police officer a few times. I've completely forgotten his name, but he's Makoto's friend. He's helped him out a few times now, and he's informing them that there is a sex industry scouts who have been roaming in the area recently, where they will trick people into the industries, where they'll scam them, so they'll flirt with them, buy them expensive gifts, and get the victim indebted. So that is exactly what is going on here, where she is now the next target. I do like the fact that Makoto gets a good old spank from his mum when he's kind of being very insensitive about the sex industry itself, where he kind of gets sent out to go and keep an eye on her and not take her eyes off her. Where Makoto, being the good kind of cop he is, where he manages to tell her and track down the man in question. The way he kind of goes about this is absolutely hilarious. So I thought this was going to be the main point of the episode, was this section, and it's not really. The main point is obviously the situation itself with her as a mum. But this little bit here is quite a nice little break in the episode where he kind of trips over the guy on purpose, where he pretends he's a shoe collector and he starts to bait the guy going, oh yeah, I know this guy from the Hadaka group and they are apparently involved in the sex industry. So he's trying to bait the guy into talking to him, thinking he can trust him, by thinking he can actually gain a contact from him. He starts to tell Makoto about the scams and how he preys on the weak, and he kind of tricks people to falling into the sex industry, where he admits that his current victim is the mum. But we do start to see that he starts to really badmouth her, and it does look quite hard for Makoto, because it does look like at one point he's going to snap. I was like, oh, is he going to snap? Is he going to beat him up? He doesn't. He does eventually kind of screw up his fist, and he gets so angry after the guy has left. But it's just that restraint that Makoto shows at this point it's impressive. Makoto, in his amazing fashion, manages to set the scout up. He says, meet me here. I'm going to let you meet the head of Hadaka, which ends up being Yui and his mother. And he's managed to get the entire admittance recorded of him admitting how he gets people into the industry, and the police arrive and they end up kind of arresting him. It's a really nice setup, but it is over really quickly, so it's quite a quick thing that we jump over. For the last section of the anime, it's one of the more darker, harder things to talk about, where we do find out that the stress, the struggle of Yui struggling so much, and the fact that she is getting these death threats, everything is becoming too much, that she is taking it out on Kazushi, where he has bruises and he himself is stressed and he's also depressed as well. Makoto's mum kind of doesn't sugarcoat it, but doesn't beat around the bush, and she says, you need to give him up, like she once did. So this is probably the bit which comes out the episode, the most important thing that we learn is Makoto himself was placed into care as a child. We do know Makoto's dad died shortly after he was born. We don't know a great deal anything else. To get herself onto even footing, obviously she only had the store. She needed to make sure that she was in a good place to raise Makoto. She gave him up for a little bit. But we do know that Makoto grew up to be our hero of justice, so things worked out in the long run with this one. We get to see Koichi dancing, where Isekai tells us about Koichi and him losing both parents to a traffic accident where he lived in Chicago. He grew up and he ended up working really hard on his ballet. And we get the nice little line that family takes many forms. There are different types of family. Some people don't get on with their family, some people do. I'm in a situation where I'm very indifferent in that sense, where I don't have the most supportive family in the world. But we're not here to talk about me. But that is the nicest line I think to take about from this, that family is in many forms. I can imagine Makoto kind of considers King maybe part of an extended family as well. Kazushi ends up being placed into care whilst Yui is working, getting herself more stabilised. And our end credits, I've always mentioned the fact that the end credits for Ikebukuro Escape Park, they changed according to the episode we have. When we had that really somber sequence with the man and the son ended up being quite abusive, we had very quiet credits. This week we've got the sad Makoto credits where we get Makoto in the rain, a very sad, because it's a very heavy episode. Ikebukuro Escape Park has definitely been an anime which likes to deal with the darker, the harder topics to talk about, the topics that most people would probably prefer to avoid or not cover in an anime. So it has proven to be quite difficult and challenging to get myself talking about it without hitting any nerves or trying to offend anybody. I'm talking about it as I can. I think the most important things from this episode, learning about Makoto's mum, learning about how Makoto himself was raised, I think that was a very key moment. Learning as well about Koichi, which is quite nice. So the episode itself is trying to drive home that family takes many forms. There are different types of family, and that we should probably not be judging people, that we also need to think about how words affect others. Her situation is made 100% worse when people start telling her to go kill herself. I think that's what the main points to draw upon on this episode are. It is another hard episode to talk about. Ikebukuro Escape Park likes to make me sweat a little bit when it comes to episodes like this. We do only have 4 episodes left, so it's going to be very interesting to see where it heads off. I can imagine there's probably a lot more source material from, judging by the fact that there's live action films and there's bits going on. Whether it dings the red green light to get a second season, I'm not so sure. It would be interesting regardless, but it's definitely proven to be a season that I've thoroughly enjoyed watching. Definitely not regretted my choice to continue watching it at the same time. It has obviously been one of my most hated series on the channel so far, which is annoying because I really enjoy it, but at the same time, I guess I need to stick to what I'm good at, which tends to be the more historical, breaking things down, and more those animes where I get to grips with things like animation and I get to talk about things like that. So I do thank everybody though who has tuned in weekly and not decided to smack the downvote button. It is difficult. I'm not trying to make up excuses. I am struggling with this series in particular to get videos out of them. The G-Boy Winter War one, I really enjoyed doing. I found that fantastic and actually quite fun to talk about. The episodes like this, they're really difficult. I'm not in a position to talk about them. I'm also not here to pass a judgment on the situation as a whole. It's not what we're here for. I'm just here to draw out the very key points. I don't think there's many key points this episode, mainly the ones about Makoto and his mum and how he was raised. That is all I really have for this episode, but thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys are subscribed. I have got the schedule for winter 2021 going up at some point. I need to record it, but I have my list, I think, now, so nearly ready to release that. Thank you guys again. Make sure you guys are staying safe. I hope you are all very, very well. The channel schedule, Monday, Tuesday, Moriarty the Patriot, the anime which definitely I sink my teeth into and have a great deal of fun ripping it apart. Definitely the anime which takes the most amount of notes. Tuesday, we have Golden Kamuy Season 3. Wednesday morning, you guys already know it, is Ikebukuro Escape Park. Wednesday afternoon is Noodles. And Friday to Saturday is The Journey of Elena. I hope you guys are staying safe. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.